Today we're going to be talking about the health status of Amari Cooper, which is, quite frankly, one of the more underrated storylines as we head into training camp. We should have a healthy amount of concern over Amari Cooper's status and injury, but there is history on the side of optimism. Get to all that in a second, but first, if you like what you watch, give it a thumbs up. And I'd encourage you to hit subscribe and ring the bell. That way you're always notified when I post a new video. So let's go back in history a little bit here. Amari Cooper suffered an ankle injury week 17. He missed a few snaps, came back into the game and finished the game, and then had a scope on his ankle on January 7th. Now, all of the reporting that came out of that January 7th scope was quick procedure, clean it up, he should be ready to go by off-season training. But as we got around to off-season training, as you may have noticed, Amari Cooper was unable to practice and participate. Now, Rappaport of the NFL Network reported that he did feel some minor irritation in the ankle, and for the most part, he's doing okay, but it's mostly precautionary to keep him out of off-season training. And look, the Cowboys maintain that they're not concerned about it. But of course that's what they're going to say. The Cowboys and NFL teams routinely underplay the severity of injuries for their players. That's what they do. So we can never ever take what the Cowboys or any NFL team says about the injury status of players at face. In fact, you probably shouldn't believe anything that they say as it pertains to injuries. Now, what Rappaport reported was that Cooper felt an irritation in that ankle, which caused him to not run on the ankle for 2 weeks, leading up to off-season training. What's needed to remedy this ankle problem for Amari Cooper seems to be not running on it, which now's the time to not be running on your ankle. But the problem is, if you're not running on that ankle and then you come to training camp, you're not going to be in football shape, ready to start training camp. So my guess is Amari Cooper will start training camp on the physically unable to perform list, the PUP list, which isn't the worst news at all because it allows the Cowboys to carry him not on a roster spot, the full 90, and he could still be in team meetings and be present, but work through the issues that he's got, especially as it pertains to not being in great shape because he hasn't been able to run for weeks. The big problem would be if he starts the season on the PUP list, which means he's out for the first 6 weeks of the season. I don't think that's going to happen. What I do think is going to happen is that Amari Cooper is going to be very limited in training camp. I think eventually he'll get cleared, will be removed from the physically unable to perform list, and hopefully test the ankle and he's fine. But that he probably shouldn't be playing in any preseason games this year. I've talked about this in the past, but there's really no value in playing your regular players and starters in any preseason games because there is no metric that indicates that if you play in the preseason, you're in better shape or better cohesion that you've developed through playing in preseason games into the regular season. Right? Like there's a greater than 0% chance that if you play in a preseason game, you could get hurt. But there is no credible metrics or any definition that says if you play in the preseason, you'll have success in the regular season. There's no correlation there. There's no question that this is an issue that could and perhaps might linger for Amari Cooper all year. Cooper, throughout the course of his career, has dealt with many lower body injuries, including plantar fasciitis, which is something that doesn't entirely go away, but is something that you have to consistently manage. Now here's the good news. Amari Cooper has dealt with a ton of injuries over the course of his career with the Cowboys, and really over the course of his career in the NFL. And yet, despite all that, he has played in 43 out of a possible 43 games for the Cowboys, which includes 2 playoff games. So he's been on the injury report, has had ankle issues, has had plantar fasciitis issues, and he hasn't missed a game. So this is a guy that understands how to put himself in position to be successful when he needs to be and how to manage pain. Now, there are a lot of question marks about the Cowboys wide receivers after this season. Michael Gallup is a free agent, and the Cowboys can get out of this Amari Cooper deal pretty cheap if they wanted to after this season. You should certainly have a healthy concern because of these lingering issues for Amari Cooper, especially as it pertains to this ankle, which is just a cleanup procedure in January, and he should have been ready to go for off-season training. Clearly he's not. My guess is he won't be for training camp, but when the real bullets fly, Amari Cooper's proven that he's ready to play and going to put himself in position to be ready to play. Cowboys have no question marks in terms of the ability of this receiving corps, and this offense should be extremely explosive. But make no mistake about it. As much depth as they seem to have at wide receiver, Amari Cooper makes this receiving corps special. And without him, it's just not the same. All right, thanks for checking out today's video. If you like what you saw, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, consider hitting subscribe and ring the bell. That way you're always notified when I post a new video.